Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we are going to talk about, I think, one of the most painful subject in the social media world, the value of social media, how to prove your results to your manager or clients. My guest for today is Brooke Sellas. Brooke is founder and CEO at B Square Media, a digital marketing agency specializing in done-for-you social care, social media management, and paid media management. Brooke is a leading consultant and speaker in digital customer care and human-led AI-powered social media intelligence. She has over 20 years experience in sales, marketing, and consultant. And Brooke, welcome. How are you?
Oh, I was backstage.
I already did the introduction for you, so
Awesome. I got to hear it. I could hear you backstage. Hi, everybody. So happy to be here. And thank you so much for having me.
great. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. I was telling that I think we chose the hardest topic, the value of social media, how to prove that social media professional can bring results to businesses with only with organic efforts, or maybe using a mix of paid with organic, but how they can prove to continue what they are doing with their organic strategy. So thank you so much for joining and accepting this invitation, because I know it's a hard topic, and I know that we need some experienced people that are working in various industries that can showcase and maybe show a framework that can be used in their day-to-day. So how are you, Brooke?
I'm doing well. It's summer. It's hot. We're actually going through a little heat wave right now. So I'm happy to have my fan and my air conditioning at the moment and trying to stay inside out of the heat and humidity.
Yeah. So I think this is my favorite part of the year. So I enjoy this
Oh,
this weather. So I'm okay with this.
good for you.
Yeah. Before to dive in and discuss this topic, I want to say something. I want to add some details about how things is going during this live session. So you can address questions right here in the chat, and we'll try to answer them while we are talking. And maybe as a starting point, you can let us know if you are working on an agency side or on a brand side, to make sure that we are bringing the right messages and the right insights for you. Okay, so let's start a little bit about what is the biggest misconception people have about organic social media in 2025.
I think the biggest misconception that people still have around social media now in this day and time is that social media is about content, right? When we think about social media, we focus on the content that we're putting out on our social pages. And honestly, that has changed. That used to be what social media was all about. And it used to be what would make you successful on social media. But I think everybody, I'm guessing, you can let me know in the chat, but I'm guessing we've all noticed big changes on social, especially with engagement and the reach of our content. And my educated guess, we'll call it, working with lots of different brands on their social marketing, is that conversations are now the most important part of social media. Not the content, but the conversations that are being had on social media with your customers and your would-be customers.
So I think that most of the people are focusing on the message and how to create the perfect caption, the perfect video, the perfect short video, and so on. But I think what's more meaningful is the intention. What do you want to translate with that specific message? And with that intention in mind, you can start a conversation. And I think what we are trying to educate on our blog on socialinsider.io is to make sure that with every post we publish, and as a social media manager, they publish on social media, try to think of what's the progress that the client or what's the progress that your ICP is doing after reading your message. And if there is a progress, and if they feel that they got a progress, they will start a conversation or interact with your post on social media. So actually, I know it's not, I got this idea of progress after reading a framework, a jobs to be done framework. And I think it's, and now I apply this to everything that we create, even it's a live session or it's a social media post or it's a blog article. We have a column in our calendar, and each post has to answer to what's the progress that our ICP is doing or getting after reading this. And I noticed that months later, my team started to provide better ideas, to provide, I don't know, better ideas for what they are doing, whether it's the blog articles or the social media. So it's important to understand that conversation and the intention that you have to with that specific social media post.
Yeah. I love that you said feel, by the way. Like, how do they feel about what we're putting out? Because what we say at B Squared Media is content is the vehicle, emotion is the destination. That is how you stop the scroll. You have to have emotion in your marketing messages, and the emotion should match, as you said many times, your ideal customer profile or your ICP. You have to know what they're feeling and what their opinions are around your brand, your industry, your competitors, and then that's how you formulate content. It's just the vehicle to get to emotion, which then gets people to start talking. So I love that you said how they feel.
Yeah, so I think that we have some people who are working on the agency side. So maybe we can tailor the insights or the examples for this
Sure.
for the agency. Which organic social strategy actually convert followers into customers from your experience for the clients you work with?
Sure. So we work with million and billion-dollar brands. They range in all kinds of industries, from manufacturing to retail to real estate. So it's all across the board. And the framework that we use with all of them is our CARE framework. So CARE with social media. And that first C is conversations. We want our content to be conversational because we know the most important metric, no matter the social media platform, the most important metric is engagement. And when I say engagement, I don't mean likes or reactions or thanks. I mean like actual back and forth conversation. If you've ever posted something and you've had a lot of back and forth conversations start happening in the comments, what you've probably noticed is your reach, your impressions, the amount of new people who you've never seen in the comments before really starts to grow. That's because the algorithms love conversation. So C is conversation. How can we get people conversing on our posts? A and R are all about tagging. So we, to get to ROI, have to be thinking about ROI baked into the strategy. So as a part of that conversation, we're going through and we're looking at all of the comments that we get and conversations that we get around the brand. Now, this is proactively, meaning using social listening to go out and listen in the wild, but it also means reactively. Like people are going to comment, hopefully, people are commenting on your post or sending you DMs. We tag all of those conversations proactively and reactively as acquisition. So gaining a new customer, or retention, retaining a customer. So I'll give you a quick example. Acquisition might be like, hey, brand, do you ship to Canada? That's an acquisition question. We would label that as a sales support or acquisition question, because if we say, yes, we sure do, what are you looking at purchasing, right? And then they come back, they've shown interest, but if they come back and then they have intent to buy, well, I want these shoes in this size 8, but I wanted to make sure you ship to Canada. That is now on us. We now know there's intent to buy these shoes and we need to ship to Canada. And now, if you're thinking about social selling, which is a part of what we do with social care, we can say something like, hey, Adina, yes, we do ship to Canada. We have those in Innate. And just because you're here and I'm feeling special, I'm feeling, like a giving person, here's a promo code for free shipping. Because now if Adina goes through and uses that promo code on her channel of choice, which was social, where she came to us to close the deal, we've made the process from consideration to purchase so easy. She uses that promo code and now we get to track that money. We get attribution to social media. So all of a sudden now we can say to the C-suite, here's how much ROI actually is by using social media. And then for retention, it's something like, hey, I ordered these shoes. You said you shipped to Canada, but my order hasn't gotten here yet. And it's been 2 weeks, right? That's a retention moment. That is a churn moment. If we do not fix this for the customer, they could churn, right? And not be a customer anymore or not be a repeat buyer. So same thing, we want to save that customer. We want to respond quickly. We want to help them out and we want to be able to quantify how many retention issues there are, the top retention issues, right? The amount of customers we've been able to save or turn around from a complaint to a thank you so much for fixing this for me. I do love your brand, right? To a brand love moment. And then E is engagement. And yes, we talked about conversation, but E is really figuring out how to use engagement, those conversations that are happening, whether you look at them proactively through social listening or reactively just on your own pages, is what voice of customer can we collect through this engagement. And I'll give you an example here too. That there's a brand called Pro Flowers. They do flower delivery. It's like 1-800-Flowers. You go online, you pick the bouquet, send it out. They put a post out that said, #unpopular opinion, we think carnations are gorgeous. And they had hundreds of people commenting on this post saying, I hate carnations. It's a trash flower. And then most people were actually saying, we love carnations too. That is voice of customer data. If I was Pro Flowers, within the next week, I would have a promo running on social only, right? So that we can have attribution that says buy one, get one on carnations, and you can comment on that post where all those comments happen so that people see it there, but also in a new post. Now we're getting more attribution proved through our care method. I know that's a lot, but that's in a nutshell how we prove ROI for all of our clients using social media marketing.
Okay, and that's a lot of work because it implies a lot of work to analyze the conversation, to tag them, and to make sure that to which category to assign them, and then to see what's happening after. So if they decide to use the promo code, if they decide to become a customers, and so on. And I feel that I have a following up question here regarding the tools. So I know that in the B2B space, when everything is happening online, you have, let's say, they can interact with you on social media, and then they go on the website, and you have a tracking code, and you can identify that specific that person came from social media. But in this case, where you use a promo code, how do you do the tracking to see that they did the purchase from the message, from that message, or from that particular DM?
Yeah, that's a great question. So depending on the client, there's different ways that we do this. So for our product-based clients who have products, their product department will create promo codes for us that work within their POS, point of sale system, so that only our team has these codes. So anytime that code is used, they know it came from social media, customer care, through B Squared Media. Now, for like a B2B brand or a service-based brand, it's a little different because they're not buying a product. So for instance, we have a credit union that we work with. Well, there's no promo code to sign up for the credit union, right? So We actually have special private landing pages where we send those customers that are dedicated again to the social care team. And if they fill out the information to receive, I fill out the form to receive information about like a rate or, setting up a new account, then that's attributed to the social care team. They also, some tools, like for instance, this client uses Salesforce and Sprout Social, and those tools work together. So they're able to see inside of their CRM retention data as well that happens through social care. So every company's different. There is no one size fits all answer. But there are ways to do it, even if you're a B2B service brand like finance, which is obviously difficult with all of the red tape that finance brands typically have.
I can share some from what we do in-house is that we ask people before, after they choose to buy a Social Insider subscription, we ask them where did they hear about us. So if I think it's a input box, so they have to put what was the channel that they heard about us. And we noticed that social media is growing. Perhaps, okay, I know that we are in the same, Social Insider is tailored for the social media space, so it's more easier for us to get clients for this channel. But I noticed that more and more people are saying that they heard about us from social media, and we don't have a huge following on LinkedIn or in Instagram. These are the main platform for our brand, but it seems that the more people are talking about us, the more people are seeing our content or sharing our content from our blog, the more people are coming to our website, and they say that they heard about us, but they don't mention that it was the LinkedIn page, our page, or the Instagram page. So it seems that there are some groups, or there are some influencers where they look at and they get the information they need. After that, they decide to continue or not.
Mm-hmm.
How can we discussed in the beginning about these conversations and how to create content that drives progress for the ICP. How can we actually create this type of content? How, if you can share something like, I know that some people say, okay, you should have a hook in the beginning. You shouldn't include links and so on. Do you have something like a formula that you follow when creating content and you get this type of conversation?
Yes. Well, first, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but I have a course that's free that's all about creating this type of content, talk-worthy content. I can share the link later in the chat if you want me to.
Yes,
but it's first understanding your ICP, like you said. That's the most important part. What do our customers and our would-be customers care about around our industry, right? And then it's figuring out how to prime your audience to converse with you. Because a lot of times what I'll hear is like, oh, well, our posts get great engagement, but we can't really get people to comment back. Okay, that's still a great place to be, because every social media platform these days has polls. So if you're just starting out or you don't have any conversation now, start using the poll feature and ask your customers and would-be customers questions that are related to your brand. I'll give you an example. There's a beauty brand called Bloom, and this was Wheezy Towels. Sorry, Wheezy Towels. I know it's a funny name, but it's a beauty brand. It's like a towel for your face. And they put out a post that was like, hey, help us solve a debate. Is it wash your face, or is it double cleanse your face, then primer, then lotion, then sunscreen, or is it sunscreen, then primer, then lotion, right? Like, it's a controversy, but not a controversy. Like, we're not talking about an actual controversy. I like to call it controversial content. And then all these people come through and comment. right? And you could really do this for every brand. Like I'm a horse lover and a horse mom. So I follow a lot of horse brands, equine brands, and they'll do things like which saddle pad should we use for this horse? It'll be like a gray horse, and everybody will have their opinion. Oh, green and gray, or pink and gray, right? Purple and gray. Everybody has their opinions, and it's just fun, right? People want to share their opinions, but you're getting them talking. This is like layup content. You should think about like this easy peasy layup polls and like conversations that people want to get involved in. And then as you get people primed to converse with your brand, you'll start to realize several things. You'll start to find more topics to talk about because you'll see what people
Yeah.
are passionate about. You'll start to realize who your advocates are because they'll be the first ones to comment or the ones who always leave a comment. It does a lot for you. And then obviously you can move from sort of that surface content and eventually get into, we helped a celebrity jewelry brand, and we started seeing all this chatter around this one necklace that she had. She didn't have it in gold. She only did silver and rose gold because, she thought that was more modern. Like nobody wore gold anymore. People kept asking about this necklace in gold. So then we put out like a little poll, like, hey, what would you like to see this necklace in next? Gold, or I forget what the other one was, or which of our pieces, maybe that's what it was. Which of our pieces would you like to see done in gold? Well, obviously, we knew this was going to happen. All people came and said, the unicorn necklace, it needs to be in gold. She produced that necklace in gold and sold out within a couple of days.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is the importance of
Yeah.
the engagement piece and that voice of customer content. So see, the content matters because we want it to get people to converse with us, but the real juice happens in those conversations or in the comments on that content, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And sometimes we create polls on our LinkedIn page, and we look at data before creating that poll, and we ask people, what do you think? What's working right now on LinkedIn? Carousel post or text-based post? So we know that the data show us the carousel posts are working pretty well for business pages, and we ask them, what do you think? So they engage with us. They say that I know that I get great results with carousel posts, but also I saw that video posts now are gaining traction. So we actually, using this type of polls, we notice that we get insights for, we get ideas for our next post on LinkedIn. So we understood that our audience is interested in understanding how video performs on LinkedIn, and now we are preparing material for this post format. So based on similar with what you said, we do the same in the B2B space.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's really not that different. I mean, I know, yes, there's a lot of differences between B2B and B2C, and we have both types of clients. But at the end of the day, even B2B buyers use social media to research brands. They wait. So now what's happening, the younger generations are actually waiting these brand conversations that are happening back and forth between customers or our users and the brand. They're waiting those brand conversations as high or higher than online reviews. So think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Gen Xer. So the first thing I do when I am looking at a product is I'm like, let me read the reviews and see what everybody says. Let me read the worst reviews and see what those say, right? But I have to say that it makes sense to me that you would look at the brand conversations, because if you see that the brand's not responsive or snarky or not helpful, that makes a big difference in your purchase decision. If you are using social media to research and discover new brands, which we now know based on research that over 85% of people use social media to make purchase decisions. And I think it's like, it's either 81 or 83%. We'll just call it 80 to make it whole.
Yeah.
80% of people on social make impulse purchases monthly because of social. Like, think about the magnitude of that number. It's huge.
It's
So
huge. Yeah.
buying is happening on social. Consideration is happening on social. Word of mouth is happening on
Yeah.
social. All
Product
the things,
reviews. Yeah.
yeah, everything, all the things you want as a brand, data-wise,
Yeah.
live on social media.
Yeah. True that. Let's talk a little bit about the mistakes that brands are doing when trying to go organic. Do you have some, I don't know, maybe some stories with clients that maybe they are, or they try to push something else when and didn't let you to be fully organic on social media?
Yeah, so a lot of times what happens is we get clients who come in and say they want to do performance marketing or paid media. And here's the thing, I don't know if any of you run ads and have noticed this. We do, and a lot of our clients do. Ads have gotten tough. It has gotten very hard. You'll actually see there's a Gartner report that came out earlier this year, and it said that ad spend is on its way down. You know, I think people are tightening budgets right now because of what's happening in the world. When there's uncertainty, that's automatically what happens, right? But the thing with ads is once you pull back spending or stop spending altogether, all of that stuff goes away. It doesn't exist anymore. So all your numbers are going to drop hugely. Now, if you have organic and you're using that in tandem with your paid media, you can keep a lot of those stats healthy through this conversational type content. When performance marketing isn't going well, which I think right now a lot of people are having problems with, digital CX or digital customer experience is what can come in and fill the gap for you. And that's all organic. You can put some automations around it. You can put some, chat bots around your FAQs and stuff like that. But it's really all organic when you think about it. And a lot of our clients, have ditched ads altogether and have just put a focus on this idea of social media customer experience.
Yeah, so I think it's a mix of paid with organic, and when, as you said, when ads don't work, continue of doing organic, because I think organic it's building your brand. It's actually your brand voice and how to interact with people, how people see you, feel you, and they can have, I don't know, a connection with you. And it's much easier to have this through social media than email or support or other channels. So it's important to continue with organic even when the ads don't give you the results that you want.
Yeah.
I think I know it's hard to be and to promote organic in a company where everything is performance based, or when the managers are saying we're not getting sales from social media, I want sales
Yes.
from social media. And it's hard to push and to have to push this and to get budget to work with designers, to work with, I don't know, freelancer that can help you with video and so on. But there are some, I think it's important to find some workflow, some system that can prove what results that can correlate the results that you get on social media with sales. As Brooke mentioned here, with promo codes, asking people before buying your product or after they chose your product, where did they hear about you? It's important to correlate and to demonstrate that, hey, look at the traffic that I got from social media, or these trials are coming. They said that they are coming from social media. Look what happening with them after when the trials has ended. So the mistake here is that I know that managers are pushing to get results, and sometimes it takes maybe years to create a solid community, years of creating content, looking at the data, looking at the trends, and then get some results and get a powerful community that interacts, that gives you feedback, and a community where you can have conversations. I have to mention here that we did in Socialinsider, we launched at the beginning of this month organic value tool or feature, where basically it shows you basically it put you a dollar value to your social media results. And we tested this, and we wanted to have like an instrument, like a tool to prove that, hey, it seems that if I invested this amount of, if I had to invest, actually it shows you how much the engagement, likes, and comments could cost you to get that number of total engagement. So basically, it's calculating based on it's based on the ads results, so cost of like, cost of comments, cost of shares, and this is the total value that you could spend to get this number of engagement. So it's we wanted to bring something as an instrument for our user base to prove that they get results with social media. Okay, so
yeah, I would say too, like if they're using that acquisition retention tagging that I talked about, you start to quantify things, right? So say you have 10 on average 10 acquisition conversations every month on your social channels collectively. Okay, well, if you're a product-based business, what's the MSRP of the conversation of the product that they're talking about? Let's just say it's $10, right? 10 times 10 we know is $100. So there's $100 potentially sitting on your social channels every month, right? Well, that's $1,200 a year. You can start to quantify it for your C-suite just by doing what I'm telling you with the CARE method. Like today, you could start doing that today. Once you quantify those numbers, then you just need to figure out how to go sell those numbers and close those deals on their channel of choice with like a promo code or a special landing page or whatever it may be. But you can do it. You just have to, your strategy has to set you up to do it that way. And I don't think I think most people are still focusing on content.
And less how to correlate the results with the business overall.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you can say, okay, well, if these $1,200 are sitting, let's go see how much of it we can close. Well, we closed half of it. 50% closing ratio? That's incredible. Find me a salesperson who has a 50% closing ratio, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden now you're showing the value of social, even if it's only $600, right? The light bulb, the switch goes on, and people start to go, aha, okay, how can we get more of those conversations happening that are acquisition, and how can we close more of them? I think that's how you get leadership or the C-suite to start to pay attention. You've got to start quantifying how much acquisition and retention are living on your social channels.
Yeah. I think we have the last 5 minutes in this live session. So I have a final question for you, which is, you said that you track back and forth conversation, and you don't look at metrics like likes, comments, and comments, and simple comments like "thank you, that's awesome." Do you track any other metrics here?
So the metric that we call it is return on conversation, and we created an engagement matrix, and it helps us kind of weight these back and forth conversations. So, if you say thanks and I say you're welcome, right? That's like a 1 point back and forth conversation. But if we start to get into the nitty gritty and you start to share voice of customer data, now I can weight this conversation much higher on our engagement score. But I can also then quantify for leadership or the C-suite what kind of voice of customer data is being shared. I'll give you an example. And some back and forth conversation that we had with one of our product clients. People hated the packaging. They just hated the packaging. They didn't like it. They said it didn't open easily. We went back to the internal powers that be at the company, they ended up changing product packaging. If you can eliminate that thing that customers hate and eliminate friction or eliminate churn, you're doing so much better than the brand or the competitor down the street, because I promise you, they're probably not using this as a method to improve brand.
Yeah, yeah, true. So thank you so much, Brooke, for sharing all these insights with us. And now we have a framework to follow and to demonstrate how to convert followers into customers. We have the care framework that you mentioned, and we know that some businesses, B2C or B2B, they do some mistakes when it comes to organic social media and how they can build communities. And I hope that for everyone is you got some actionable stuff that you can implement right away in the way you are measuring your social media, and how or you have a new approach of measuring the efforts from social media. Where can people find you, Brooke?
Yeah, I hang out on LinkedIn. That's my channel of choice. So you can find me on LinkedIn at Brooke Sellas. You can find out all about me at brookesellas.com, or you can go to our company website, which is b2b.media. So the company's B Squared Media, and we're a .media URL.
Great. So I added your LinkedIn profile right here. All
Thank you.
these details will be included in the email after this live is ending. So thank you so much for sharing this. For me, it was quite a learning experience to see what B2C are doing, and it gave me some ideas of how can we use these ideas and to apply these ideas in the B2B space. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us today, and see you next month.
Bye. Thank you.